Top of the day, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is February 14th, 2021. We are on day 77 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 746. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get started this morning so we can get a good deal of our reading done today. Greetings. I'm going to start here with the Shema. Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily as Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, has promised us in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, He is one God, and you shall love Yahuwah your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah our God for our good always, that He might preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah our God, as He has commanded us. All right, beautiful people. So we are starting in Numbers 31 today. Let's go ahead and get started here. All right, y'all. Oh, I covered my words up a little bit. Shalom, Josiah. All right, y'all. Numbers 31. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, on behalf of the people of Israel, take revenge on the Midianites for leading them into idolatry. After that, you will die and join your ancestors. So Moses said to the people, choose some men and arm them to fight Yahuwah's war of revenge against Midian. From each tribe of Israel, send 1,000 men into battle. So they chose 1,000 men from each tribe of Israel, a total of 12,000 men armed for battle. Then Moses sent them out, 1,000 men from each tribe, and Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, led them into battle. They carried along the holy objects of the sanctuary and the trumpets for sounding the charge. They attacked Midian as Yahuwah had commanded Moses, and they killed all the men. All 5 of the Midianite kings, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, died in the battle. They also killed Balaam, son of Beor, with a sword. Whew. Then the Israelite army captured the Midianite women and children and seized their cattle and flocks and all their wealth as plunder. They burned all the towns and villages where the Midianites had lived. After they had gathered the plunder and captives, both people and animals, they brought them all to Moses and Eleazar the priest, and to the whole community of Israel, which was camped on the plains of Moab beside the Jordan River across from Jericho. Moses, Eleazar the priest, and all the leaders of the community went to meet outside the camp. But Moses was furious with all the generals and captains who had returned from the battle. Why have you let all the women live? He demanded. These are the very ones who followed Balaam's advice and caused the people of Israel to rebel against Yahuwah at Mount Peor. Y'all remember who Balaam was, right? Remember Balaam and his talking donkey? Remember Yahuwah told him, don't go with Balak's men? That's him. This is the same Balaam who died at this battle, right? Listen. Why have you let all the women live? And there's actually a section in the Legends of the Jews that we're going to come upon that gives detail about how he died, right? Yeah, you don't play with the most holy and them gifts, boy. I tell you. Why have you let all the women live? He demanded. These are the very ones who followed Balaam's advice and caused the people of Israel to rebel against Yahuwah at Mount Peor. They are the ones who caused the plague to strike Yahuwah's people. So kill all the boys and all the women who have had intercourse with a man. Only the young girls who are virgins may live. You may keep them for yourselves. And all of you who have killed anyone or touched a dead body must stay outside the camp for 7 days. You must purify yourselves and your captives on the 3rd and 7th days. Purify all your clothing too, and everything made of leather, goat hair, or wood. Then Eleazar the priest said to the men who were in the battle, Yahuwah has given Moses this legal requirement. Anything made of gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, or lead, that is, all metals that do not burn, must be passed through fire in order to be made ceremonially pure. These metal objects must then be further purified with the water of purification, but everything that burns must be purified by the water alone. On the 7th day, you must wash your clothes to be purified. Then you may return to the camp. And Yahuwah said to Moses, You and Eleazar the priest and the family leaders of each tribe are to make a list of all the plunder taken in the battle, including the people and animals. Then divide the plunder into 2 parts and give half of the men who fought the battle and half to the rest of the people. From the army's portion, first give Yahuwah his share of the plunder, 1 of every 500 of the prisoners and of the cattle, donkeys, sheep, and goats. Give this share of the army's half to Eleazar the priest as an offering to Yahuwah. From the half that belongs to the people of Israel, take 1 of every 50 of the prisoners and of the cattle, donkeys, sheep, goats, and other animals. Give this share to the Levites, who are in charge of maintaining Yahuwah's tabernacle. So Moses and Eleazar the priest did as Yahuwah commanded Moses. The plunder remaining from everything the fighting men had taken totaled 675,000 sheep and goats, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 virgin girls. Half of the plunder was given to the fighting men. It totaled 337,500 sheep and goats, of which 675 were Yahuwah's share, 36,000 cattle, of which 72 were Yahuwah's share, 30,500 donkeys, of which 61 were Yahuwah's share, and 16,000 virgin girls, of whom 32 were Yahuwah's share. Moses gave all Yahuwah's share to Eleazar the priest, just as Yahuwah had directed him. Half of the plunder belonged to the people of Israel, and Moses separated it from the half belonging to the fighting men. It totaled 337,500 sheep and goats, 36,000 cattle, 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 virgin girls. From the half share given to the people, Moses took 1 of every 50 prisoners and animals and gave them to the Levites who maintained Yahuwah's tabernacle. All this was done as Yahuwah had commanded Moses. Then all the generals and captains came to Moses and said, We, your servants, have accounted for all the men who went out to battle under our command. Not one of us is missing. So we are presenting the items of gold we captured as an offering to Yahuwah from our share of the plunder: armbands, bracelets, rings, earrings, and necklaces. This will purify our lives before Yahuwah and make us right with him. So Moses and Eleazar the priest received the gold from all the military commanders, all kinds of jewelry and crafted objects, and all the gold that the generals and captains presented as a gift to Yahuwah weighed about 420 pounds. All the fighting men had taken some of the plunder for themselves. So Moses and Eleazar the priest accepted gifts from the generals and captains and brought the gold to the tabernacle as a reminder to Yahuwah that the people of Israel belonged to him. Remember, y'all, they still out here in the wilderness, and they fighting other lands of people who are residing in these places. So they are literally in the wilderness among other peoples, right? They weren't by themselves. Although in some places they were by themselves, but there were other people in the area where Yahuwah had brought them out to. That was called the wilderness, right? Okay, just pay attention to that, y'all. It makes me think about some things, and I'm going to have to adjust some things, right? The tribes of Reuben and Gad owned vast numbers of livestock, So when they saw that the lands of Jazer and Gilead were ideally suited for their flocks and herds, they came to Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the other leaders of the community. They said, "Notice the towns of Ataroth, Dibon, Jezer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elileh, Sibmah, Nebo, and Beon. Yahuwah has conquered this whole area for the community of Israel. It is ideally suited for all our livestock. If we have found favor with you, please let us have this land as our property instead of giving us land across the Jordan River." "Do you intend to stay here while your brothers go across and do all the fighting?" Moses asked the men of Gad and Reuben. "Why do you want to discourage the rest of the people of Israel from going across to the land Yahuwah has given them? Your ancestors did the same thing when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land. After they went up to the valley of Eshcol and explored the land, they discouraged the people of Israel from entering the land Yahuwah was giving them. Then Yahuwah was very angry with them, and he vowed, 'Of all those I rescued from Egypt, no one who is 20 years old or older will ever see the land I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for they have not obeyed me wholeheartedly.'" I know it sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I just want to remind you, when Yahuwah looks at us and when he talks about the age of accountability, he always talks about those who are 20 years old and older. So if you ever hear that and people trying to wonder what the age of accountability is, let's go back. Let's use the principle of first mention, right? When Yahuwah first mentions it, and he always talks about those who he holds responsible are 20 years old and older. The other ones are still kind of under the tutelage of their parents, right? So y'all kind of kept safe if your parents are doing what's right and they're not full of shenanigans and stuff, right? So that's what Yahuwah calls the age of accountability from what we read, age 20 and up. Then Yahuwah was very angry with them, and he vowed, "Of all those I rescued from Egypt, no one who is 20 years old or older will ever see the land I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for they have not obeyed me wholeheartedly. The only exceptions are Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua, the son of Nun, for they have wholeheartedly followed Yahuwah." Yahuwah was angry with Israel and made them wander in the wilderness for 40 years until the entire generation that sinned in Yahuwah's sight had died. But here you are, a brood of sinners, doing exactly the same thing. You are making Yahuwah even angrier with Israel. If you turn away from him like this and he abandons them again in the wilderness, you will be responsible for destroying this entire nation. But they approached Moses and said, "We simply want to build pens for our livestock and fortified towns for our wives and children. Then we will arm ourselves and lead our fellow Israelites into battle until we have brought them safely to their land. Meanwhile, our families will stay in the fortified towns we build here, so they will be safe from any attacks by the local people." Any attacks by the local people. Remember, they're talking about the other people who are there amongst them, not like amongst them, but there they are found. When they go outside of themselves, we see other people. Like there are other people here besides Israel, right? "We will not return to our homes until all the people of Israel have received their portions of land, but we do not claim any of the land on the other side of the Jordan. We would rather live here on the east side and accept this as our grant of land." Then Moses said, "If you keep your word and arm yourself for Yahuwah's battle, and if your troops cross the Jordan and keep fighting until Yahuwah has driven out his enemies, then you may return when Yahuwah has conquered the land. You will have fulfilled your duty to Yahuwah and the rest of the people of Israel, and the land on the east side of the Jordan will be your property from Yahuwah. But if you fail to keep your word, then you will have sinned against Yahuwah, and you may be sure that your sin will find you out. Go ahead and build towns for your families and pens for your flocks, but do everything that you have promised." And then the men of Gad and Reuben replied, "We, your servants, will follow your instructions exactly. Our children, wives, flocks, and cattle will stay here in the towns of Gilead. But all who are able to bear arms will cross over to fight for Yahuwah, just as you have said. So Moses gave orders to Eleazar the priest, Joshua the son of Nun, and the leaders of the clans of Israel. He said, the men of Gad and Reuben who are armed for battle must cross the Jordan with you to fight for Yahuwah. If they do, give them the land of Gilead as their property when the land is conquered. But if they refuse to arm themselves and cross over with you, then they must accept the land with the rest of you in the land of Canaan. The tribes of Gad and Reuben said again, we are your servants, and we will do as Yahuwah has commanded. We will cross the Jordan into Canaan, fully armed to fight for Yahuwah. But our property will be here on this side of the Jordan. So Moses assigned the land to the tribes of Gad, Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, son of Joseph. He gave them the territory of King Sihon of the Amorites and the land of King Og of Bashan, the whole land with its cities and surrounding lands. The descendants of Gad built the towns of Dibon, Ataroth, Aor, Atroth, Shopan, Jazer, Jogbehah, Nimrah, and Beth-Horon. These were all fortified towns with pens for their flocks. The descendants of Reuben built the towns of Heshbon, Elealeh, Kirithaim, Nebo, Baal-meon, and Sibmah. They changed the names of some of the towns they conquered and rebuilt. Then the descendants of Machir of the tribe of Manasseh went to Gilead and conquered it, and they drove out the Amorites living there. So Moses gave Gilead to the Mecharites, descendants of Manasseh, and they settled there. The people of Jair, another clan of the tribe of Manasseh, captured many of the towns in Gilead and changed the name of that region to the towns of Jair. Meanwhile, a man named Nabal captured the town of Kenna and its surrounding villages, and he renamed that area Nobah after himself. So remember, I talked about earlier, I was talking about how we're going to inherit all the lands of Edom, right? And so you got to think about it. Remember, we was also talking about how when Yahuwah destroys a place, sometimes it definitely means that poof, you are gone, out of here, you are no more, you no longer exist. But also destroying a town and a place can also mean like what they did. You go and you take over and you acquire all the lands and you rename it. So the name that it used to be, like the name of this place over here, the Turtle Islands, is no more. It's now called America because it was conquered by another people who live here. So it's like you disappeared and you were destroyed. But a lot of times some of the same people are there if they have not weeded them all out, which they were doing. So there were still remnants of them left, but the ones who were most detrimental to the growth of Israel, Yahuwah completely rooted out and destroyed, like poof, pow, gone. We're killing your entire family line, so nobody can come from you that's going to come back and try and bite you in the butt. Just like he was trying to do with King Saul. Remember King Saul? He decided he wanted to save the best of the flock and everything and sacrifice. When Yahuwah said, kill them all, slaughter them all, he didn't do that. He saved the king. Samuel came in, killed the king, and he came in, he said, what is this bleating of sheep that I hear in my ears? And he said, well, we wanted to sacrifice the best things to Yahuwah. And he said, no. Yahuwah said, destroy everything. Here's what happened. The son of that king that King Saul did not kill, his son got away, right? His son, somebody from his line, got away. And it happened later that he rose up and he decided he coming for his daddy's records, right? He wanted to avenge his daddy. And who do we know that person to be that comes back and wants to try to annihilate Israel because of King Saul's sin by not obeying Yahuwah fully? Who do we know that person to be? Y'all remember? Did y'all put that? Were y'all able to put that together? It was Haman. It was Haman trying to annihilate all the Jews. And who did Yahuwah had to prepare to put in place? Esther, right? To fix what King Saul in his foolishness and his rebellion to Yahuwah did not do. He should have killed them all. If he had have killed all of them, when Yahuwah said to, nobody would have escaped, and we wouldn't even had the book of Esther. We wouldn't even had any of that happened. But because his disobedience, we got another whole story that breaks off, that actually comes in to correct what he did these many years ago, right? So I said all that because we was talking about places that are destroyed. Sometimes they're not completely destroyed. They actually come in, take over, and they rename the places. So when people are looking for it, just like now, we can't find some places. They are still there, though. We just can't find it because they've been destroyed or renamed. They've been renamed so many times. We've been renamed so many times. The different names over the years, they keep changing what they classify us to further and further remove us away from the understanding that, wait a minute, we are the people of this book, right? I hope that makes sense, y'all. Okay, so you got to pay attention to all those things. It's like little pieces that you learn and you pick up along the way that helps you to be able to put together the bigger picture as a whole. So I know sometimes it may seem like I'm bringing in like a lot of different things. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? It has everything to do with everything. You have to gather pieces of the puzzle. Sometimes you know how you go on scavenger hunts and you're looking for pieces. Like, what in the world this got to do with what we supposed to be looking for? It's this part. It's another clue. Like on what is it? The treasure movie. With Nicolas Cage, that movie, and his father was like, "What do you? All it is another clue. They sending you on a witch hunt. There ain't nothing there." He said, "No, it is." He said, "All these stories, look at everything." He said, "This has to be true. This has to be true. We have the map. It got the disappearing ink. Who would do something like this just to play a cruel joke? This is true." And come to find out, it was true. Even his very own father, who was part of the great deception, who had been deceived, he figured, he just gonna count it all up to ghost tales and stuff and fairy tales and all this. They just wanted to keep us entertained. But it was his son who was like, wait a minute, no, this is true. Hold on, I remember the story his granddad used to tell us about this. This has to be true. This can't just be some elaborate story just to kind of keep us busy all this time having to search for something that doesn't exist. And that's what it is. And his father would have been one of the ones who had been cut off, right? Because he didn't believe, right? He was like, "Oh, this is nothing but fairy tales." You could tell his father, he started getting excited a little bit. He's like, "Oh, wait a minute, I ain't gonna get myself excited just to be let down again." And sometimes I see that in previous generations, like generations other than like these younger generations, right? Because we like, oh, we full on believe this. Like, there is no doubt in us. Although we can't quite put some of the things together, it's like, no, no, this cannot be one big elaborate scheme, right? Just to keep us busy to the day we die. Like, there are so many things supernatural that has happened that especially keeps me going. I say, oh no, this is real, but you have those ones from the old school. There's like, yeah, oh, yeah, we're going to the sweet by and by. Sure enough, you going right to the sweet by and by. You would not get to see this promised land. So you going to go sleep in the dirt while your children inherit this land. We out of here, bro. We going. I'm like Joshua and Caleb. We going to see this place. Me and all my posterity, we going to see this place, right? Okay. Last chapter. Numbers chapter 33. This is the route the Israelites follow as they march out of Egypt under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. At Yahuwah's direction, Moses kept a written record of their progress. These are the stages of their march, identified by the different places where they stopped along the way. They set out from the city of Ramses in early morning on the 15th day of the first month, on the morning after the first Passover celebration. The people of Israel left defiantly in full view of all the Egyptians. Meanwhile, the Egyptians were burying all their firstborn sons whom Yahuwah had killed the night before. Yahuwah had defeated the gods of Egypt that night with great acts of judgment. After leaving, After leaving Ramses, the Israelites set up camp at Succoth. Then they left Succoth and camped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. They left Etham and turned back toward Pi-hahiroth, opposite Baal-zephon, and camped near Migdol. They left Pi-hahiroth and crossed the Red Sea into the wilderness beyond. Then they traveled for 3 days into Etham wilderness. Then they traveled for 3 days into the Etham wilderness and camped at Marah. They left Marah and camped at Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees. They left Elim and camped beside the Red Sea. They left the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. They left the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dafka. They left Dafka and camped at Alush. They left Alush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. They left Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. They left the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibroth Hattavah. They left Kibroth Hattavah and camped at Hazeroth. They left Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. They left Rithmah and camped at Rimmon Perez. They left Rimmon Perez and camped at Libnah. They left Libnah and camped at Rissah. They left Rissah and camped at Kehilatha. They left Kehilatha and camped at Mount Shepher. They left Mount Shepher and camped at Haradah. They left Haradah and camped at Mechiloth. They left Mechiloth and camped at Tahath. Tahath. They left Tahath and camped at Terah. They left Terah and camped at Mithkah. They left Mithkah and camped at Hashmonah. They left Hashmonah and camped at Mazarath. They left Mazarath and camped at Beni Jaakan. They left Beni Jaakan and camped at Hor Haggid Gad. They left Hor Haggid Gad and camped at Jothbatha. They left Jothbatha and camped at Abranah. They left Abranah and camped at Ezon-Geber. They left Ezon-Geber and camped at Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. They left Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor at the border of Edom. While they were at the foot of Mount Hor, Aaron the priest was directed by Yahuwah to go up the mountain, and there he died. This happened in midsummer on the first day of the 5th month of the 40th year after Israel's departure from Egypt. Aaron was 123 years old when he died there on Mount Hor, at the time of the Canaanite king of Arad. At that time, the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev in the land of Canaan, heard that the people of Israel were approaching his land. Meanwhile, the Israelites left Mount Hor and camped at Zalmunna. Then they left Zalmunna and camped at Punan. They left Punan and camped at Oboth. They left Oboth and camped at Abarim on the border of Moab. They left Abarim and camped at Dibon Gad. They left Dibon Gad and camped at Almon Diblathaim. They left Almon Diblathaim and camped in the mountains east of the river near Mount Nebo. They left the mountains east of the river and camped on the plains of Moab beside the Jordan River, across from Jericho. Along the Jordan River, they camped from Beth Jeshimoth as far as the meadows of Acacia on the plains of Moab. While they were camped near the Jordan River on the plains of Moab, opposite Jericho, Yahuwah said to Moses, "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. When you cross the Jordan River into the land of Canaan, you must drive out all the people living there. You must destroy all their carved and molten images and demolish all their pagan shrines. Take possession of the land and settle in it, because I have given it to you to occupy. You must distribute the land among the clans by sacred lot and in proportion to their size. A larger portion of land will be allotted to each of the larger clans, and a smaller portion will be allotted to each of the smaller clans. The decision of the sacred lot is final. In this way, the portions of land will be divided among your ancestral tribes. But if you fail to drive out the people who live in the land, those who remain will be like splinters in your eyes and thorns in your sides. They will harass you in the land where you live. And I know and I will do to you what I plan to do to them. Listen, that's like, if you don't go do that, I'm gonna come get you, right? He said, look, if you don't do what I tell you to do to them, I'm gonna do to you what I plan to do to them. He said, so drive them out. They cannot live here. If they live here, it's just like what the mixed multitude did. When they lived among them, they caused Israel to sin. Israel would not have sinned had it not been for the mixed multitude. At least that's what Yahuwah said. He said if they weren't there, they would not have coaxed them into doing some of the things that they did. He said, so these people, it's time for them to go. They cannot live here any longer. He said, you got to kick them out. If you let them remain here, they're going to be like splinters in your eyes and thorns in your sides. They will harass you in the land where you live, and I will do to you what I plan to do to them. Right? Woo. So let's make sure we keep all the commands, right? Do everything that Yahuwah has told us to do. All right, y'all. So let's jump on over here to Legends of the Jews, page 309. National Treasure. Thank you, sure. That's the movie with Nicolas Cage I was thinking about. National Treasure. Okay. The Da Vinci Code. No, it was National Treasure, Trina. Unless you bought a Da Vinci Code for something else. When you was talking about something else. But anyway, hopping over here to the Legends of the Jews, y'all, and we are starting chapter 4. It is volume 3, chapter 4. And the heading is the 12 Princes of the Tribes. And if you got the same book I got, it is page 309. All right. Okay, we're good. Oh, we might just be able to read 2 sections today. Okay. All right. The 12 Princes of the Tribes. Yahuwah, in his love for Israel, had frequent census taken of them, so that he might accurately estimate his possession. In scarcely half a year, they were twice counted, once shortly before the erection of the tabernacle, and the second time a month after its dedication. On the first day of the month of Iyar, Moses received instructions to take a census of all men over 20 who were physically fit to go to war. He was ordered to take Aaron and his assistants, so that in case he should overlook some of the men, Aaron might remind him of them, for 2 are better than 1. They are also to take as their subordinates, They were also to take as their subordinate assistants Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's sons, and a man each from the several tribes. These 12 men were appointed not only to conduct the census, but also to look after the spiritual warfare of their respective tribes, the sins of which would be upon their heads, unless, with all their powers, they strove to prevent them. Moses and Aaron, nevertheless, adjured the princes of the tribes, in spite of their high rank, not to tyrannize over the people, whereas, on the other hand, they admonished the people to pay all due respect to their superiors. The names of these 12 princes of the tribes indicated the history of the tribes they represented. The prince of the tribe Reuben was called Eliezer. My God is a rock, referring to the ancestor of this tribe, Reuben, Jacob's son, who sinned, but owing to his penance was forgiven by Yahuwah, who bore his sin as a rock bears the house built upon it. The name of Eliezer's father was Shedeur, cast into the fire, which means cast into the fire, because Reuben was converted to repentance and atonement through Judah, who confessed his sin when his daughter-in-law Tamar was about to be cast into the fire. The prince of the tribe of Simeon was named Shelumiel. My God is peace, to indicate that in spite of the sin of Zimri, head of this tribe, through whom 24,000 men of Israel died, Yahuwah nevertheless made peace with this tribe. The prince of the tribe of Judah bore the name Nashon, wave of the sea, the son of Amminadab, my prince of my people. because the prince received this dignity as a reward for having plunged into the waves of the Red Sea to glorify Yahuwah's name. The tribe of Issachar had for its prince Nathanael, Yahuwah gave. For this tribe devoted its life to the Torah given by Yahuwah to Moses. Accordingly, Nathanael was called the son of Zuar, burden, for Issachar assumed the burden of passing judgment on the lawsuits of the other tribes. Corresponding to the occupation of the tribe of Zebulun, its prince was called Eliab, the ship, son of Helon. Son of Helon, the sand. For this tribe spent its life on ships, seeking treasures hidden in the sand. Elishama, son of Ammihud, the name of the prince of the tribe of Ephraim, points to the history of Joseph, their forefather. Yahuwah said, Elishama, he obeyed me, who bade him be chaste and not covet his master's wife that wanted to tempt him to sin. And Ammihud, me he honored and none other. So they're saying the names and then they're giving the definition of the name if you haven't picked it up. So Ammihud, me he honored. That's what it means. That's what Ammihud means. Me he honored, or Elishama, he obeyed me. So when y'all hear me say the name, then say that it's giving the definition of the name. Okay. The other tribe of Joseph, Manasseh, also named their prince in reference to their forefather, calling him Gamaliel, son of Pedahazar, which signifies Yahuwah rewarded Joseph for his piety by releasing him from bondage and making him ruler over Egypt. The prince of the tribe of Benjamin was named Abidan, my father decreed, son of Gideoni, mighty host, referring to the following incident. When Rachel perceived that she would die at the birth of her son, she called him son of faintness, supposing that a similar fate will overtake him and that he was doomed through weakness to die young. But Jacob, the child's father, decreed otherwise and called him Benjamin, son of might and many years. The prince of the tribe of Dan bore the name Ahazar, brother of Help, son of Ammishaddai, my people's judge, because he was allied with the helpful tribe of Judah at the erection of the tabernacle, and like this ruling tribe brought forth a mighty judge in the person of Samson. The tribe of Asher was distinguished by the beauty of its women, which was so excellent that even the old among them were fairer and stronger than the young girls of the other tribes. For this reason, kings chose the daughters of this tribe to be their wives, and these, through their intercession before the kings, saved the lives of many who had been doomed to death. Hence the name of the prince of the tribe of Asher, Pagiel, the interceder, son of Akron, the afflicted. For the women of the tribe of Asher, through their intercession, obtained grace for the afflicted. The prince of the tribe of Gad bore the name Eliasaph, Yahuwah multiplied, son of Duel. Yahuwah is a witness, to reward them for passing over the Jordan and not returning to their property on this side of the river until the promised land was won. Did we just read about that today? That's why, Shayla. We just read about that, right? And Moses said, listen, if you go over and you help them, then you can have this land over here on this side of the Jordan. We literally just finished reading that, right? Okay. To reward them for passing over the Jordan and not returning to their property on this side of the river until the promised land was won. Their wealth was multiplied by Yahuwah, for when, upon returning, they found the enemy at home, Yahuwah aided them and they gained all their enemies' possessions. Yahuwah was furthermore witness that this tribe had no wicked motive when they erected an altar on their land. The prince of the tribe of Naphtali was called Ahira, desirable meadow, son of Enan, clouds. For the land of this tribe was distinguished by its extraordinary excellence. Its products were exactly what their owners desired, and all this owing to the plenty of water, for the clouds poured plentiful rain over their land. And the census of the people At the census of the people, the tribes were set down in order in which they put up their camp and moved in their marches. The tribes of Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun formed the first group. The royal tribe of Judah being associated with the tribe of learned men, Issachar, and with Zebulun, which through its generosity enabled Issachar to devote itself to the study of the Torah. The second group consisted of Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. The sinful tribe of Simeon was supported on the right by the penance of Reuben, and on the left by the strength of Gad. The tribes of Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin formed a group by themselves, for these, before all the other tribes, were destined to appear gloriously against Amalek. The Ephraimite Joshua was the first who was victorious against Amalek. The Benjamite Saul followed his example in war against Agag, king of Amalek, and under the leadership of men out of the tribe of Manasseh, the tribe of Simeon, at the time of King Jehoshaphat, succeeded in destroying the rest of the Amalekites, and to take possession formed the last group. And for the following reason they were united in this way. The tribe of Dan had already, at the time of the exodus from Egypt, been possessed of the sinful thought to fashion an idol. To counteract this dark thought, Asher was made its comrade, from whose soil came the oil for lighting, and that Dan might participate in the blessing. Naphtali, full with the blessing of Yahuwah, became its second companion. At this third census, the number of men who were able to go to war proved to be exactly the same as the second census. At the third census, the number of the men who were able to... Hold on, I done started right back over. Hold on. Let me go back. Okay. I messed myself up. At this third census, the number of men who were able to go to war proved to be exactly the same as the second census taken in the same year. Not one among Israel had died during this period, from the beginning of the erection of the tabernacle to its dedication, when the third census took place. But no conclusive evidence concerning the sum total of the separate tribes can be drawn from this number of men able to go to war, because the ration of the two sexes varied among the different tribes. As, for example, the female sex in the tribe of Naphtali greatly outnumbered the male. Moses at the census did not take into consideration the tribe of Levi, because Yahuwah had not commanded him to select a prince for his tribe as for all the others. Hence he drew the conclusion that they were not to be counted. Naturally, he was not sure of his decision in this matter, and wavered whether or not to include the Levites in the number. When Yahuwah said to him, "Do not muster the tribe of Levi, nor number them among the children of Israel." At these words Moses was frightened, for he feared that this tribe was considered unworthy of being counted with the rest, and was therefore excluded by Yahuwah. But Yahuwah quieted him, saying, "Do not number the Levites among the children of Israel, number them separately." There were several reasons for numbering the Levites separately. Yahuwah foresaw that owing to the sin of the spies who were sent to search the land, all men who were able to go to war would perish in the wilderness. All that were numbered of them according to their whole number, from 20 years old and upward. Now that the Levites had been included in the sum total of Israel, the death angel would have held sway over them also. Wherefore Yahuwah excluded them from the census of all the tribes, that they might in the future be exempt from the punishment visited upon the others, and might enter into the promised land. The Levites were furthermore the bodyguard of Yahuwah, to whose care the sanctuary was entrusted. Another reason for counting them separately. Yahuwah in this instance conducted himself like the king who ordered one of his officers to number his legions, but added, number all the legions, excepting only the legion that is about me. The extent of Yahuwah's love for Levi is evident through the command given to Moses to number the tribes of Levi, all males from a month old and upward, whereas in the other tribes none were numbered save the men able to go to war, from 20 years old and upward. Upon other occasions, Yahuwah had even the embryos among the Levites numbered. This occurred upon Jacob's entrance into Egypt, when the number 70 for his family was attained only by including Jochebed, who was still in the womb, and similarly at a future time upon the return of the exiles from Babylon. For at that time only 23 of the priestly sections returned. Hence, to complete their number, they had to include Bigvi, who belonged to the missing section, even though he was still in the womb. When Moses was ordered to number among the Levites all children from a month old and upward, he said to Yahuwah, Thou biddest me to count them from a month old and upward. Shall I now wander about their courts and houses to count each child, seeing that thou hast given me such a command? Yahuwah replied, Do thou what thou can do, and I will do what I can do. Like, you do what you can do in the natural, and I'm going to add some super on top of your natural. Hence, it becomes supernatural. But Yahuwah replied, Do thou what thou can do, and I will do what I can do. It now came to pass that whenever Moses betook himself to a Levite tent, he found the Shekinah awaiting him to tell him exactly the number of children without his having to count them. In the choice of this tribe, Yahuwah showed his preference for the seventh, for Levi was the seventh pious man, starting from Adam, to wit, Adam, Noah, Enoch, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Levi. As in this instance, so many others did Yahuwah indicate his love for the seventh. He sits enthroned in the seventh heaven. Of the seven worlds, the seventh alone is inhabited by human beings. Of the early generations, the seventh was the most excellent, for it produces Enoch. Moses, seventh among the patriarchs, was judged worthy of receiving the Torah. David, seventh son of Jesse, was chosen as king. In periods of time also the seventh was the favorite. The seventh day is the Sabbath. The seventh month is Tishri, is the month of the holy days. The seventh year is the sabbatical year of rest. Every seventh sabbatical year of rest is the year of Jubilee. Another reason for numbering even the youngest boys among the Levites was that Another reason for numbering even the youngest boys among the Levites was that the tribe of Levi as a whole had the responsibility of atoning for the sin of the firstborn among the children of Israel. For it was these who, until the time of the worship of the golden calf, performed the services of the priesthood, and their privilege was taken from them owing to this their sin. This prerogative was then conferred upon the tribe of Levi, who moreover, dedicating themselves man for man to the service of Yahuwah, serve as an atonement for the firstborn of Israel, that they might not be destroyed as they deserve. The exchange of Levites in place of the firstborn did, however, present a difficulty. For Yahuwah had communicated the number of Levites to Moses in the following way. Their number amounts to as many as the number of my legion. For when Yahuwah came down upon Sinai, 22,000 angels surrounded him, and just as many men did the Levites number. Outside of these, there were 300 firstborn among the Levites that could not well be offered in exchange for the firstborn among the other tribes, because their standing was the same as theirs. As the number of the firstborn among the other tribes exceeded the number of the Levites by 273, this surplus remained without actual atonement. Hence Yahuwah ordered Moses to take from them 5 shekels apiece by the pole as redemption money and give it to the priest. The sum was fixed upon by Yahuwah, who said, Ye sold the firstborn of Rachel for 5 shekels, and for this reason shall ye give as redemption money for every firstborn among ye 5 shekels. To avoid quarrels among the firstborn, as otherwise each would try to lay the payment of redemption money upon his neighbor, Moses wrote upon 22,000 slips of paper the word Levi, and upon 273 the words 5 shekels, all of which were then thrown into an urn and mixed. Then every firstborn had to draw one of the slips. If he drew a slip with Levi, he was not obliged to remit any payment. But if he drew 5 shekels, he had to pay that sum to the priest. Okay, we're going to go to the next section. The 4 divisions of the Levites. Apart from, and we're on page 312, if you got the same book I have. But if you got different page numbers because your book is smaller, it's called the 4 divisions of the Levites. Apart from the census of all male Levites, Moses now took another census of the men from the ages of 30 to 50, for only at this age were the Levites permitted to perform service in the tabernacle throughout their march through the desert, a law that indeed ceased to hold good when Israel settled in the Holy Land. These officiating Levites, as well as the priests, were divided by Moses into 8 sections, a number that was not double until the prophet Samuel increased it to 16, to which David again added 8, and so that there were later 24 divisions among the Levites and priests. The most distinguished among the Levites were the sons of Kohath, whose charge during the march through the desert was the Holy of Holies, and among the vessels particularly the Holy Ark. This latter was a dangerous trust, for out of the staves attached to it would issue sparks that consumed Israel's enemies. This latter was a dangerous trust, for out of the staves attached to it would issue sparks that consumed Israel's enemies. But now and then this fire wrought havoc among the bearers of the ark. It therefore became a customary thing when the camp was about to be moved for Kohath's sons to hasten into the sanctuary and seek to pack up the different portions of it, each one planning cautiously to shift the carrying of the ark upon another. But this even more kindled Yahuwah's wrath against them, and he slew many of the Kohathites, because they ministered to the ark with an unwilling heart. To avert the danger that threatened them, Yahuwah ordered Aaron and his sons first to enter in the sanctuary, and to appoint to the Kohathites everyone his service and his burden. Okay, I see what they doing now. Okay, hold on. Okay, so they was afraid of this fire that was coming out. So, okay. So they was rushing in. They're like, shoot, I ain't carrying the ark. That fire be popping out, hitting people. You going. So they was shifting the burden of who was going to actually carry the ark one to another. I ain't carrying this time. I carried it last time. Look, I almost, no, I'm not. No, you going to do it. So while that's what they was doing. They was arguing amongst themselves. And you would say, you know what, stop all this foolishness. We're going to point forever the people who going to carry the ark, right? So let's read that again. I'm going to read it again. Listen. The most distinguished among the Levites were the sons of Kohath, whose charge during the march through the desert was the Holy of Holies, and among the vessels, particularly the Holy Ark. This latter was a dangerous trust, for out of the staves attached to it would issue sparks that consumed Israel's enemies. But now and then this fire wrought havoc among the bearers of the ark, or the carriers of the ark. It therefore became a customary thing when the camp was about to be moved for Kohath's sons to hasten into the sanctuary to grab everything but the ark. Hold on. It therefore became a customary thing when the camp was about to be moved for Kohath's sons to hasten into the sanctuary and seek to pack up the different portions of it, each planning cautiously to shift the carrying of the ark upon another. But this even hold on, I'm sorry, because I'm thinking about my sons. Right, when I tell them to come down here and clean up, I clean up the living room and the kitchen. Make sure you get the dining room too. Don't nobody ever want to wash the dishes. Jeremiah be the first one. I got the living room. I'm like, knowing he the only one that I won't washing dishes, right? So Jeremiah would be the one who, I'm like, boy, you pissing me off because you know these little ones ain't gonna get in there and wash the dishes. I want you to wash the dishes. You're older, you're more seasoned in doing it. And that's what was going. That's why I keep laughing, because when I read this, I thought about my kids when I told them come down and do this. Everybody picking everything else but the kitchen because they know they gotta wash the dishes. I'm sorry, y'all. That's why I keep laughing, because I look at all five of them running to do everything but the kitchen. Well, except for Bella, because Bella like to play in the water. Bella be the first one to run to the kitchen. I wash the dishes. How she say? She say, no, I wash dilish. That's what she say. She called the dishes dilish, right? Because she's still trying to pronounce that. She said, I wash dilish. I said, no, baby girl, you get out my kitchen. So, but I see why you would got pissed with them, because I be like, Jeremiah, oh boy, you burning my buttons, boy. Get in the kitchen. Okay. I'm gonna read that again. This is so good. Hold on. The most distinguished among the Levites, who were the sons of Kohath, whose charge during the march through the desert was the Holy of Holies, and among the vessels particularly the Holy Ark. This latter, or the trust of the ark, this latter was a dangerous trust, for out of the staves attached to it would issue sparks that consumed Israel's enemies. But now and then this fire wrought havoc among the bearers of the ark. It therefore became a customary thing when the camp was about to be moved for Kohath's sons to hasten into the sanctuary and seek to pack up the different portions of it, each one planning cautiously to shift the carrying of the ark upon another. This even more kindled Yahuwah's anger against them, and he slew many of the Kohathites because they ministered to the ark with an unwilling heart. To avert the danger that threatened them, Yahuwah ordered Aaron and his sons to enter first into the sanctuary, and to appoint to the Kohathites every one his service and his burden, that they might not go in to see when the holy things are covered, lest they die. This was done because previous to this command, the sons of Kohath had been accustomed to feast their eyes on the sight of the ark, which brought them instantaneous death. But according to this order, Aaron and his sons first took apart the different portions of the sanctuary, covered the ark, and not till then called the sons of Kohath to bear the burden. During the march, the Levites might wear no shoes, but had to walk barefoot because they carried and ministered to holy objects. The Kohathites had moreover to walk backwards, for they might not turn their backs to the holy ark. They were, furthermore, owing to their offices as bearers of the ark, distinguished by being the first of the Levites to be numbered in the census, although in other respects the sons of Gershon led, for Gershon was the firstborn of Levi. When the commission to count the sons of Kohath, Yahuwah explicitly mentioned that Moses should undertake the census with Aaron, but he did not do so when he ordered the numbering of the sons of Gershon. Moses now thought that Yahuwah had done this intentionally, because the former were directly under Aaron's supervision, while the Gershonites were not. Nevertheless, out of respect for his brother, he bade his brother, as well as out of courtesy, the princes of the tribes to be present at the numbering of the Levites, but he did not tell Aaron what he did so in the name of Yah. In this Moses erred, for Yahuwah wished Aaron to be present at the numbering of the Levites. For this reason he ordered the census of the third division, Merari's sons to be taken. He expressly mentioned Aaron's name and the apportionment of the service among the individual Levites. However, Aaron paid attention only to the sons of Kohath, each of whom had his special tasks allotted to him, whereas Moses appointed their tasks to the sons of Gershon and Merari. The highest chief of the Levites, however, was Eleazar, who was to have the oversight of them that keep the charge of the sanctuary. But despite his high position, Eleazar was modest enough to participate in the service in person. During their marches from place to place, he himself would carry all needful things for the daily offering. In his right hand he carried the oil for the candlestick, in his left hand the incense. On his right. Hold on. It's a word messing, y'all. I'm sorry. In his right hand he carried the oil for the candlestick, in his left the incense. It's missing a word. It's it. Okay, hold on. In his right hand he carried the oil for the candlestick, in his left hand the incense. On his, it don't say left or right, it just say on his are the things, and I don't want to, because I don't know whether it's left or right, but it's either on, hold on, maybe I can figure out, hold on. It doesn't say. Okay, wait. Okay, so maybe it's on his, I don't know. Yeah, I can't tell you whether it's the left or right. Okay, so I'm going to read this again. In his right hand, I was looking at him like, okay, so if he's carrying this in the right hand, maybe this over on his left, but I really can't tell. In his right hand, he carried the oil for the candlestick, in his left hand, the incense. Oh, God. In his left hand, the incense. On his are the things that were made in the pans. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back, because this is gonna pluck my nerves today. I'm gonna have to figure out what this is. Okay, if somebody who got the smaller book reading right here, if you got the missing word in yours, please tell me what it is. This is gonna pluck my nerves today. In his right hand he carried the oil for the candlestick, in his left hand the incense. On his are the things that were made in the pans, and attached to his girdle the field for the ointment, the field with the oil for ointment. Ithamar, Eleazar's brother, also had the duty in the sanctuary, for it was he to whom the guidance of the service of Gershon and Merari's sons were assigned. For these must perform none but the service Yahuwah had specially assigned to them, as no Gershonite may perform the duty of a Merarite, and vice versa. And each individual, too, had his special duty, that no quarrel might arise among them. Where we at? Okay. And we're going to stop right here, y'all, because this next section is going to probably take us all the way into like the 20-minute mark. So, but we'll stop right here for the day, and we'll pick this up. But Mama call you. I know you got the smaller book. I got to figure this. This is going to pluck my nerves today. I need to find out what is missing. I need to know whether it's the right or it's the left. Okay. All right, y'all. So that was the Legends of the Jews. We started on page 309, and we ended at 312. We'll pick this back up tomorrow right here. And we read Numbers 31, 32, and 33. So I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. Let's go on over here. Let's go ahead and do the blessing. Let's see. Maybe on his back. Hold on. Yeah, because he already had something in his right. He had something in his left. Okay, hold on. Okay. In his right hand, he carried the oil. He carried the oil for the candlestick. In his left hand, the incense. It could be. Oh, that might. said that? Kenneth. Okay, so it could have been on his back. It may. Because it says on his. Well, because it says on his. Okay, because it says in his right hand he carried. Well, in his right hand he carried the oil for the candlestick. In his left hand the incense. On his. So on his. It couldn't have been on his head. So it might have been on his back, right? Anybody else with a smaller book? Is it back? It could be on his back. I didn't think about that, Kenneth. Thank you. It could be because it says on his. Yeah, let's read it. Let's read it like that. Let's see. In his right hand he carried the oil for the candlestick. In his left hand the incense. On his back are the things that were made in the pans, and attached to his girdle the fill with the oil for the ointment. You might just be right, Kenneth. Thank you. That's why I need y'all. Y'all help me fill in little places, right? We all work together. We need each other. That might be right because he carries something in his right hand, his left hand, and that would make sense that he would carry that on his back because on his girdle he carried the vial for the oil for the ointment. That would make sense. Okay, that would make sense. But thank you. Okay. Let me just make a little note right here. Possibly on his back. Yeah, I know sometimes I may talk ghetto, but I'm a real stickler for English, right? And I know we get that from our mom because we would grow up and we would say something improper. She said, "What am I sending you to school for?" Mom, you remember that? That is not how you pronounce that word. And she wouldn't be snapping at us, but she just look at us like, "What am I sending you to school for?" So they kind of like stuck with us. So I kind of cringe when I hear it's like something. Oh my gosh, ooh, something that makes me cringe when people say the word specific, right? And when they're thinking about the word specific, they think they're saying the word specific. That's the word they want to say, but instead of saying specific, they say Pacific, like the Pacific Ocean. That just makes me cringe. I'm like, oh my gosh, and it throws my ears and my body into shock, So, but I've gotten better because I used to be kind of quick. I'm like, you said that wrong, But I kind of learned to just stay in my lane. Maybe they don't know, So okay, but if I'm having a conversation with them, I try not to make it so noticeable. But in some way, I try and find a way to repeat the word that they said improperly, and I say it right. But I'll keep on going, trying not to bring attention to them that you mispronounced this word. But specifically, I want to inform you that you pronounce this word the wrong way. I'm going to keep on going. I'm not going to, I ain't going to say it in a condescending fashion, but I'm just going to kind of repeat the word. Some people catch on real quick. Some people just don't. They just keep on with the improper way of saying it, So forgive me because I know, even though when I be saying these names, I be kind of screwing some of these names up. And I know that. That's my truth. I know that. I tell y'all that. Some of the names stump me. I don't know how to pronounce them. I'm going to sit here and sound it out like, he. It's going to look like I don't know how to read it all. But I want to pronounce it right because I'm a stickler for pronouncing things right in proper English and proper editing in books, right? So, but I get it, But some people, they such sticklers that if they find like a improper punctuation, they'll throw the whole book away, But I've learned not to do that. I've learned how to calm down, just take what I need and go on about my business, right? I've learned how to do that because if you just throw everything away, you're going to miss so many pieces. You're not going to have anything. You're not going to be able to focus. You're just going to be a whole complete mess, right? So I learned how to overlook some things, take what I need and keep going, right? It took me a while to grow to that point, but I've learned how, I just need this right here. Thank you. I'm going about my business. Right. Okay. So, all right, y'all, let's do the blessing for today, which is found in, that's right, Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And everybody knows what the first 21 verses is. It's a Nazarite vow. Man or woman can take it. Why do I keep saying it? Because I will hope that some of you may consider at some point in time during your life to consider setting yourself apart for a special season to Yahuwah and Yahuwah alone. You know, he does some wonderful things with Nazarites, you know, so. And that's something you yourself can choose to do. You can choose how long you want to do it. You can choose whether you want to or not at all. Right? Okay. And Yahuwah spake to Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. That is it for today. We are done. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here because I don't think there are any questions. Oh, Trinity said, yeah, it is. National Treasure. The Da Vinci Code was about exposing Christianity. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, all right, y'all. Since there's nothing else, we out here. I love y'all, and I see y'all bright and early in the morning. Oh, darn it. I forgot to check. I'm going to check today. I'll let y'all know tomorrow. Because it's still cloudy. I ain't seen the first slither of the moon. And I can't say I know for sure because I don't know for sure. But I need to check. I'm about to check as soon as we get off of here because we need to know that because the Sabbaths change, right? So they're going to shift from Thursday. So it's either going to be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I'm thinking it's shifting. Let me not say it. Let me just look first while I say anything for everybody to start making their schedule. I'm going to go check. Y'all check. I need to verify this information first. So I love y'all. I'll let y'all know tomorrow. I'll probably post up here today too. So come back, check later. Probably about 20 minutes. If you need to know right now, you know, so you can go ahead and set your schedule. Whatever it is you need to do. But anyway, y'all, I'm out here. I see y'all in the morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce.